Chess is a game of strategy, a game of intellect. Two minds battling it out. In spite of that, men dominate. Most of the strongest women never win against the strongest men. The women have always been cast away as if they were worse, having different titles than the men. However, Beth Harmon is an exception. In The Queen's Gambit, said Beth Harmon is the main character, an orphan girl who had climbed her way up to being the world champion of chess in the Cold War, a setting with practically no other chess-playing woman in the picture. Critics believe the show was a win for chess and a pleasure to watch, and the statistics reflect it. This show had quickly become an icon for the chess community, boosting sales across the world, creating a 600% spike in sales of chess books. Additionally, it had become a feminist icon, as many feminists enjoyed its empowerment through Beth's success in a patriarchal world, and at the same time promoting more girls to start playing and competing. However, even though the show has leaned into very feminist aspects, such as it being driven by strong female leads and the inherently feminist plot, problematic messages in the plot and problematic representations of sexuality, race, and the effect of patriarchy impede the show from being truly intersectional and feminist. Inherently, the show is feminist. It's an empowering show, a show that makes readers feel their worth and who they are. It's a classical rising up against all odds, the same plot that has been used and seen everywhere. Personally, I can name at least 6 or 7 shows that follow this exact same plot. However, instead of it being a man, the viewer sees the success of a woman, Beth Harmon, despite all the struggles. In the beginning of Beth's story, class struggle and sexism were the main blockers for her success. From when she was an orphan at the Methuen home with minimal, if not zero opportunities and resources, her escape was just based off of sheer luck upon meeting Mr. Scheibel. However, even he initially assumes that women don't play chess, highlighting how in this era Beth faced a patriarchal society and the consistent belief that people of her kind were just not intelligent and smart enough to even play chess in the first place. Additionally, when she goes to her first tournament, she also faces sexism as the organizers state that there is no woman section explicitly towards her. Furthermore, she, by herself, was unable to even join the tournament due to her recent adoption status and barely any money to her name, having her stepmom, Alma Wheatley, having to step in and pitch the funds for her. Both this class struggle and sexism that Beth had faced early on in her career, before she was an established player, and the inevitable success that occurred to her, highlight the feminist qualities of the show. Because of this struggle, the audience gets the message that no matter the circumstances, if one's a girl or if one's disadvantaged, with persistent effort, they can succeed just like Beth, providing for an empowering and impactful message. Furthermore, other strong female characters are integral to the plot and also break the patriarchal mold that they were fit into. For example, once Beth had gotten adopted and left the Methuen home, she got launched into a single mother household. The mother, Alma Wheatley, had been sidelined and turned dependent on Mr. Wheatley to provide her with cash, and so her dreams of playing piano went along with her independence. However, in spite of this, she believes that though she is no longer a wife, except by legal fiction, she believes that she can learn to be a mother, trying to escape the patriarchal society and bounds that she was confined to, paving her way to her own goals, such as fueling Beth's chess career. This story displays its feminist-focused message on rising up against oppression through the stories of women figuring out their own goals and desires, and not socially conforming to the goals society expects of them. However, for every successful woman that escapes the patriarchy, there are countless women that don't. One instance of this is Beth's biological mother, Alice. She was born into a rich family and was a genius, graduating from Cornell with a PhD and even publishing a book titled Monomial Representations and Symmetric Presentations. Then she gets married to Paul, another person from a really wealthy family. However, she deals with severe mental issues and additionally the societal expectations of how she is supposed to be raising her child, with those two factors combined leading to her inevitable suicide, forcing Beth into the orphanage. This suicide demonstrates the catastrophic effects of the patriarchal society, strict gender roles, and societal expectations, which paints the message of the story as one of inevitable doom and loss, not empowerment. Nothing can be truly black or white. Same goes with The Queen's Gambit. Although the plot on the surface is empowering, enabling, and feminist, its message can easily become twisted. Since we rarely see Beth ever practicing, and even others believe that her playing style was intuitive, her inevitably succeeding, and especially succeeding as the only one playing against men, can cause problems in the message that gets transferred to the viewer. Since we never really see much of best practices, instead of it showing the message of an empowering young orphan succeeding due to hard work, it could depict the message that as a woman, to succeed in a male-dominated space, there'd have to be some sort of special gift or hidden talent to ever do so. A vastly different, yet very probable interpretation the audience can achieve, one that isn't feminist or empowering in the slightest. Additionally, because we do not see many other successful women, even in other studies like Best Mom, only Beth and Alma being the ones that inevitably succeed, paint the picture of how unless one isn't the most talented human to ever walk the earth, they simply can't succeed. Although that message might be up to interpretation, to be truly feminist, one must also be intersectional. One must include all sorts of different minorities and fight for their justice as well. In The Queen's Gambit, however, this is not the case. Queerness is defined as someone who does not correspond to traditional ideas of sexuality and gender, especially heterosexual norms. To cut us some slack, the setting wasn't particularly the best and most optimal for queerness, as it was only until later in the story in 1969 when the gay rights movement would occur. And to give them credit, the creators incorporating any sort of queerness is already a huge positive, considering the settings. However, the queer characters' Cleveland talents have little to no screen time. And out of this almost 7 hours of total runtime, Talents, one of the queer characters, only appears for a mere 19 minutes. This lack of screen time and this representation of queerness is not on point. Although they're in the right direction incorporating the queer characters, their lack of screen time almost made the queerness a token in a way, subtly reinforcing the anti-LGBTQ thought. Jolene, on the other hand, has no other explanation. Being the oldest girl in the Methuen home and additionally being black, she had multiple issues with her ever getting adopted. After the first episode, her only marking as a side character the entirety of the show was solely helping Beth no matter what. This sounds familiar? Countless other shows and movies have done this exact same trope, the magical Negro. This blatant tokenization and classical troping leads to Jolene being a completely flat character with no real substance or sustenance to it. This poor treatment of African Americans, classically troping them, and forming no true character, led to the harsh misrepresentation of them. This horrible treatment depicts to the audience, similar to the LGBTQ one, that races were not considered and were only just shoehorned in to appeal to the minorities. Although The Queen's Gambit is a wonderful watch, chock full of feminist ideas and concepts, large issues arise in the treatment of African Americans, queers, and additionally the harsh and toxic patriarchal landscape as a whole.